Awesome.
Okay, there we go.
Um,
Perfect. Thank you.
yes. And also just wanted to say thank you so much for organizing this event. I love the Write the Docs community. It's my favorite. I think it's the only professional community I'm part of. But I've learned so much from the Slack channel and from all the people. So I really appreciate the conferences and the meetups and all that you do to keep this going. So thank you for that. All right. So as you said too, it's kind of wild that your last meetup was February 17th. I joined my last company, Writer, February 18th of last year. And when I joined, I didn't use any AI in my writing at all. It was kind of by accident that I joined an AI company. And so within that 1 year, it hasn't even been a full year. I have changed from never using it to like exclusively use AI for writing now. I don't really type in like an IDE or VS Code anymore. I have Claude write docs, and then I'm kind of orchestrating and editing. So it's just kind of wild the changes that a year can make. So I have a talk about kind of my journey into that, and specifically how I accidentally backed into context engineering and realizing the information that humans need to contribute to a project and be successful is also what AI needs. And a lot of uh, systems fail because they don't have the context that the AI needs to actually perform well. Um, and at the end, yes, would love to hear more about how you all are using AI. If you're not, share tips, whatever. Yeah, I'm excited to just chat more about AI and tech writing. So I say quick show of hands. I can't actually see the hands, but I'm curious. How many of you are the only writer on your project? Are there any solo tech writers out there? Um, yes, I at Twilio I was on a larger team of tech writers, and then at Writer I was the only tech writer, and this is kind of about my journey codifying all of the stuff that was in my head also because it's kind of neat being the solo tech writer. You get to like choose everything you want, choose the style, like be the final decider. But then at least I never really passed that on to like external stakeholders or folks who needed to contribute. um, I'm also curious how often folks are using AI in their daily work. Maybe like a 1 for never and a 4 for daily. And I'm going to switch over because I can't actually see anybody. Okay, wait. Oh wait, there's no one on camera anyway, so I'm just gonna keep going. This is great. Um, and I'm also curious if anyone has ever written instructions specifically for an AI tool, like a style guide or a rules file, or system prompt. And I guess again, I can see hands. So this was just like a thought exercise to get us started here. So for my background, when I was at Writer, I was the only tech writer on the project. So again, everything lived in my head, which was really cool. I got to say we're not using gerunds for headers. We're using active present tense, and we don't say things like simply. We don't use this marketing language. And I was also the only one contributing to the docs, really. So I didn't have to like enforce these rules with stakeholders. And then a new teammate joined, and I realized I have nothing for you. She was a great tech writer who was also just writing using the rules she knew, and would sometimes make decisions that like weren't the ones that were supposed to be in our style guide. Um, so I found myself continuing to, or always doing things like putting we use sentence case for headings, or we don't say we say you, and trying to explain the style guide on every single change that she would make. And I realized, okay, I really need to codify this so that other people can understand it, and it's not just me correcting every little thing. So I wrote down everything. I wrote down our style guide, the workflow, audience notes, who we're writing for, just everything that someone would actually need. Really, we're tech writers, so we write things down. I did that for the job. Um, and then I was actually super surprised that overnight, after I created this style guide and put it into our docs repository for humans, all the AI got better just overnight having that. I didn't expect it. So I was using Cursor at the time for my IDE, and I was just I would have it write docs like first drafts, but then I would have to do a lot of time combing through and making changes and updating all those little style things, just like I was doing for my human coworker. And then we also were using, we had some AI code review in our GitHub repository as well going, and I just always ignored it because I thought it was just it's about code samples, and this like has that, but it's more about this is more prose. And then overnight, it started giving really helpful reviews. Like this one, I loved. It saw that I added an image without any alt text to a doc, and it commented add descriptive alt text. So it looked at the image, said this is informative content, and then per your guidelines, you need to add alt text, and then had a committable suggestion. Um, and it wasn't doing that before. So I realized this is when it all clicked. Like, oh, the AI can't read my mind, just like a human can't. And the same information that is going to make a human successful on a project is what AI needs as well. So again, the things that I wrote down that led to this change were all the rules in my head, things like defer to Google style guide if there's not a rule for this. We use sentence case for headers. We don't use first person plural. When to use different components for our docs as code system. Also, the audience notes again, like people who are reading these docs are software engineers trying to solve a problem, and we don't want to expect them to read a doc end to end. So, kind of talking about how we need to add scaffolding and signposts throughout to orient readers quickly. And also all the workflow stuff. So, what are the Slack channels that we need to talk about or that we need for different information? Where are the repositories for the source code to refer back to? Who are the um, key people to talk to for each project? All the things that you would, need to orient a human. That's what I wrote down, and that's what helped the AI actually put the pieces together and just like again overnight get so much better in a way that I didn't anticipate that it would. But it makes sense thinking, okay, AI can't read minds yet. So I wanted to jump into a quick demo of just how I would get this going for a project now. Like I'm jumping into a project for the first time. How would I build this context now and scaffold it for a human and AI to perform successfully? So I chose to do this with Flask. I love Flask. It's a great project, open source for um, building web servers in Python. Um, it's got many contributors and no like official how to write the doc style guide. So I thought it would be a good project to jump in and just show like what it looks like to generate a doc without context, then add some, and then iterate from there. So um, I'm using Claude Code for this. I love Claude Code. You can do this with any AI tool as well. Um, so you can do this with a web chat, a desktop app, other code tools. I just work all the time in Claude Code because I work on the docs for Claude Code and I love it. So I opened up a new session. I pulled down the Flask application, which has all its docs in it. And let's actually take a look at the docs for a second. So going to go back to the overview. So this is the landing page for Flask. And I was looking through what's a good thing that we could add. There's this quick start already. And this is already in the docs. This isn't anything that I've just added. And it's a quick start that's like fairly long. There's a lot of stuff in it. So if I were going to make one change, I might make a more like one shot, just sit down and do this quick start really quickly. What are the key things I need to know without reading this whole doc? So that was the exercise I thought I would try. I'm going to give Claude Code the prompt to create just a shorter quick start getting started guide. So I said, write a new quick start. It should do a walkthrough of installing, creating a basic server that does something slightly more interesting than just rendering hello world, and then introduce the quick start after. So that's all I did. I didn't give it any context beyond that. So it went through, it read the doc's structure. As a human they would probably not just jump straight in and write a fresh doc. They'd like explore the doc structure a little bit. And then it generated a doc and updated the index page. So we can go take a look at what it generated. This was the doc that it came up with. So it's correct. It's using the right syntax. It's using RST correctly. That's awesome. And if we go back, oh wait, sorry, this is the wrong version. Getting started. Okay. So this is the doc that it generated, and I'm just doing a live preview of it. So going through, it's like it's a solid. It's made good choices for the context that it has. It like is comprehensible. It did the instructions for set up a virtual environment, all that stuff that I wanted. But going through, I would still have a lot of nits. If this was a person who wrote this or AI, I would be going through making a lot of nitpick comments on it. So stuff already that I'm seeing like um again, this also could be just personal style and I'm like really pedantic or something, but like I don't like having dollar signs in copyable uh code samples because people just want to be able to copy paste directly and then the dollar signs break the code sample. So I would say don't do that. I would add that to the style guide. um I'm getting so the M dashes are bothering me because of the whole AI thing, so I would add to my style guide, don't use M dashes that much. um this looks fine. It explains what the code sample is going to do. I don't really love the a few things to notice, so I would say maybe introduce code um, more thoroughly rather than like just notice this thing. I would say explain the code more formally, I guess. Um, Start the development server so it reloads. Like this seems good, but I would maybe just have describe like what does debug do? So I would add more information about like describe any flags that you're adding. This is all the stuff that I would ask a human to do too. Um, so anyway, there's some stuff that I would add here, like Flask uses Jinja. It says add a file, create a templates folder and add a file called index.html. I would want this to be explained, like what does this do? I want more information here. So all of this stuff, again, this is like a fine doc, but I feel like we can do better and reduce the amount of nitpicks we have to do and get it to adhere to our style guide better. So where am I? So next, let's get that context going. Let's set up what our style guide is and set it up in a way that human contributors can read and also AI can benefit from it. And then we'll generate the doc again and see how it improves. And because it's a live demo with a non-deterministic tool, it's probably going to explode, but we'll see what happens. So I'm going to go back to my terminal here. So I'm on the branch that had the no context quick start. I'm going to switch to a fresh branch quick start with context that I'd set up. So again, we don't have anything written, anything new on this. I'm going to enter Claude here, do my Claude version here. And then, so for this, I want to give it the same prompt, but I want to give it that context first. One just neat trick that you can do with Claude Code is if you're starting a new project for the first time, you can do /init and it will actually do the scaffolding for you to begin with. So you can do /init and then give it some information about like what you want it to analyze about your project, what you want it to codify and understand and set up for you. So I'm going to say something like init, like focus on docs contributions, information, style guide, what people need to know they are prospects. Okay, so this is just like a neat trick that Claude can do. It can gather information for you already and put it into a doc for you so that you have this. So while that's working and exploring, I figured we can also start working on our own style guide. What else do we care about that we want to make sure is always enforced? So just a couple things. I noted some things already, but we can start talking about what we're opinionated about. Does anybody have any like strong opinions that they feel that we should add in? Like, are you strongly title case or sentence case for headers or have a specific voice that you care about? Just curious, you can shout it out if you have anything. And I can't see the doc or the chat still. So if you put anything there, if someone wants to read it out, that's great.
Yeah, Lana says sentence case all the way.
Love
I'm personally also language, Australian English over US English if we're doing for that particular audience. Yeah.
Great. That sounds good. Okay, so I'm going to start noting this. So style stuff. We said Australian English over American English. Sentence case. Yeah, anything else that we care about? I'll keep adding a little bit as we go.
Yeah. Avoid words like simply and please, Rose says.
Yeah, I'll add just avoid any marketing, like over promising language, like powerful. Um, now I'm forgetting, but that's my example. Um,
Active voice over passive voice. Colin's got a comment there.
mhm. I like code snippets. Commands should be directly copy pastable. No. Great. Oh yeah. What commands are doing. So orient readers around what commands are doing, what flags are being set to commands. Great.
We've got Oxford comma as well.
Oxford, comma, great. Does anyone have a default, like if we don't have an answer, defer to like Google style guide or Microsoft style guide? Is there a preference or other that I don't know about? I usually go Google, but I can go either way here.
Yeah, I think Lana says Google.
Great. Okay. So let's check on how Claude is doing. Oh no, it asked me for permission again. I didn't put it into a mode where it can just read everything, so it was stalled on asking for permissions. But that's okay. It's going to keep reading.
There was another suggestion about all steps in an instruction start with the verb.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, don't use directions like below or
Oh,
above.
directions. This is great. I'm
Although,
learning from this too, things that I wouldn't. Yeah.
and one of my pet peeves is following. You know, you've got a list and you say the following things. You don't. I don't know how you describe that. The following,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
What do
just
you say?
extra words that you don't really need. Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid extra words that you don't need.
Because yeah, sometimes these have got to be translated. So you want.
Oh yeah.
I've gradually been learning simplified technical English, but it's hard. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Like simplified. Maybe it knows.
particularly if you got translation stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. These are great call outs. Thank you. Okay. So it has come up with, Claude has come up with this Claude.md, which is how it codifies the things that it's supposed to remember every time it works on something. So it's come up with these are all the things. This is how you run the project. This is how you run tests. This is how you run the documentation. It's pulled out the architecture and key patterns. It has a docs contribution guide, so how to build and preview the docs, RST convention. So it did a good job already. Like this is part of the way there to providing the things that a human or AI would need to know as they were working on this. Cross references, how to show code blocks. All of this is great. Docstream format. So it did a really good job of pulling out all of this information, version change annotations, PR requirements. So yes, that looks good. So now I'm going to have it add in the stuff that we were just talking about. So add Claude.md following. So I'll just paste this in. So Claude will add that into the guide that it just wrote. And then we can also have it translate that to a contribution guide or a style guide that we also commit to the repository that's more public facing. Okay, so it's adding all these things. Okay, and also generate a style guide for contributors. Okay, so I'll have it build all this, and then after that, I'm going to have it run the same prompt that we did previously, and just see if it adheres to our style guide and we're doing fewer corrections and it's more in line with what we're hoping for, just like a one shot. I never really expect still that I'll just give it a command, it'll generate a whole new doc and I don't have to change anything, but it reduces a lot the amount of like nitpicks and style guide issues and inconsistencies that I would otherwise be yelling about. So, okay, it's generating that style guide. It adds the style guide to the index. So it's pretty neat. Does all this, we would know how to do this ourselves, but it does all the typing faster for us. Does the cross-referencing. Okay, so now I'm going to start a new session and I'm going to paste in the same prompt, and it will load that claude.md and should then follow the instructions that we said. And we also now have this human guide that should help a human onboard to the project. So we'll go through that and see how it goes. Again, it's understanding what kind of information it needs to provide. It's still doing a walkthrough of the existing docs pattern. So it's going through, let's see. While it's working on that, we built our claude.md, and that's the place that I would say to start, especially when you can do things like knit, like scaffolding, and you can put it all in one place to, if you're only doing one thing to like orient all of your tooling, I would do a claude.md for Claude Code, or like an agents.md if you're using another tool. Still exploring index.rst. It's going to talk about integrating the new page. Check the installation guide so I can reference it appropriately. It does so well with cross-referencing. Thank you. Thank you, Claude. So it's going to generate a first steps guide and place it in between installation and quick start. That all makes sense to me. That's where the other one did as well. And then as it's working on that, okay, so it wrote that guide. We can call it, it called it first steps. So we can pull up what it wrote. So I'm seeing it didn't have, like, it followed our directions of not having things like dollar signs. It talks about what you're actually doing. Let's see if it renders correctly. Okay, so here's our new first step stock. So I'm seeing this, I don't have to yell about anymore. Install Flask, create your application. It's using sentence case instead of title case, so that's nice. It's following that. It is talking about, like, it does, it's not doing the few things to note. It talks a bit more formally, I guess, is about how it's doing the code. It calls out what debug mode is, and it didn't put the output example in the code sample too. Our previous example had the command plus what the output would look like, so you can't copy paste that directly. So it's following like fewer things to yell about directly that we've called out. So it's kind of, it feels like the previous one made good choices for what it had, but this one it's like at a much higher level of adherence, and then we can focus more on content and less on the nitpicks, which is also what we'd expect when a human is onboarded to our style guide. So what you've built calls that. I don't see any opportunities where we've needed things like Australian English over American English, or other specific things that we've called out. But overall, I'm satisfied with how this is adhering. And then just a couple more things to point out that you can do to keep this information synced too, because like, what if you change your claude.md, but then it's not changed in the style guide that you've written? There's a couple different just tricks that you can do there Actually, I'm already running the doc. So you can do things like create a hook in Claude Code. You can do this in other tooling as well. But when one doc changes, then update the other doc automatically, something like that, so you can watch for changes. So I'm going to hook to automatically sync changes when someone updates WtD style guide info to the contributor style guide doc. So you can do things like this in Claude Code or other tooling to help sync too, so that things don't drift. And you do have like a unified source of truth in both places, one that Claude will automatically look for and one that a human might look for. And then you can also, oh, sorry, it's looking at the hooks. So I don't even know where I was going with that. I said you can also, and then I stopped thinking and got distracted by a computer. So while it's working on that, let's go back to the slides. Again, it works everywhere. So I'm using Claude Code, but you can do this in browser tools. You can do this in kind of the AI tool of your choice. A lot of this is translated, again, with things like agents.md or project instructions. Let's see, do I have... So I'm here in the Claude desktop app, and you can create a personal project here with describe your goal, what you're trying to achieve. And you can do the same thing here, so that whenever you start a conversation in Claude in the desktop app or online, it will also reference these instructions every single time. And you can add things like files and external links and Google Drive and Slack, and you can connect all that as well. So it doesn't just have to be Claude Code. You can do this in other tools. And then the key thing too is to remember, keep correcting. And documentarians, we've got this. But it's not a static doc, and every time AI gets it wrong or a human gets it wrong, you can look back and update Claude.md or update the style guide when it's using the wrong terminology, or it keeps messing something up, like, oh, we're not describing something clearly enough. We're giving the information, but not in a way that's fully digestible. So the same feedback loop you'd have if a person kept making the same mistake over and over. You can iterate on that and keep it up to date. And then another thing that I've learned about recently is skills. So right now I'm writing this so that our entire style guide is in Claude.md. But that's not super context efficient. Every time Claude starts up a session, it reads the entire Claude.md, and not all of that would be relevant to every single task it's writing. Like my Claude.md previously got super big with like, this is how you write an API reference doc. This is how you write a tutorial. This is how you write in a quick start or a glossary entry. And agent skills helps with this, where you can separate out that context to only the time when your agent is going to need that. And it's also just like with a human, you would write like operation manuals for individual tasks. You wouldn't give them before they started writing an API tutorial, you wouldn't give them the instructions for every single possible guide that they might write. So this is more of a future practice, kind of where things are going right now. But skills are kind of the way that you would break this apart for a human, or sorry, for not a human, for an agent. So if I were going to continue iterating on this, I would say break apart the Claude.md style guide rules that we created into agent skills if they're not relevant for every docs task. So I would have it break this apart, and that way it shortens up the context that we give it every single time, but provides on-demand context. So as Claude or as an agent is working on a specific task, like, okay, I'm just writing an API doc, it can say, oh, I have this API doc skill, and read in the specific information or any kind of guiding text or like scripts or anything you need it. Again, just as a human would go reference specific information. And you can use those skills also to, again, sync a human or like an external contributor facing guide about how we specifically style these types of pages or structure this type of knowledge. So this is kind of just a demo of like how I would structure this information as I was going and break it apart for like get everything set up for a new contributor or a new AI assistant. So yeah, starting with the AI, I would do this even if I was onboarding a new person now, I would start with this workflow now. When I did it previously, I wrote everything as a style guide in Claude, just read it because it was exploring the code base. But I'm finding it easier now and more useful to start with the agent, the Claude.md guide, and then translate that into whatever other external docs we might need. Because the Claude.md is also human readable. It's all human readable, just in a slightly different format than you might write like a onboarding guide for someone. And start with AI because even if you're a solo writer, you can AI headcount is easy to get, and human headcount is a lot harder to advocate for. But when the new teammate finally joins, you already have all this onboarding information written down, and they inherit everything that AI has been working from. So my main takeaway is write it down. So I think we've all got that as documentarians, and the same information that humans need in order to contribute well and do well on your project is the information that AI needs. And also the same thing about like not overloading a human with too much information for the task is the same as you would do with AI as well. If you're going to start right now, I would say start with just one file, start writing down every single thing you need to know, and just give your AI the information that it needs. Or like everything that you store in your brain that you care about, keep correcting it as it makes mistakes. And then you're ready for help from AI or from a new teammate whenever someone wants to onboard onto your project. So yeah, scales for AI today and for the next human tomorrow. So that's what I have, and happy to chat more about docs or AI or tooling or anything else, or yeah, just happy to keep chatting. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That was really good. I especially like the fact that you were able to actually code as you spoke, which is a great skill.
Excellent. Yes, the typing is always. I only forgot a couple sentences as I was talking.
That's pretty. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to come off the mute and ask Sarah directly. I think we've got enough time for questions. So.
I wanted to ask about if you've got your doc source in a Git repo, would you have another Git repo for all your like Claude files and your other like sort of style files? Because I mean, I'm learning a bit of Claude code at the moment, deep diving into it.
Awesome. Yeah.
But I haven't figured out how to plug the two together with your docs repo and your repo for your Claude coding info.
Yes. Yeah, I would put it all directly in the project, in the docs repository itself, in just a .claude repository, and that way everybody who also works on the project inherits all that information, and their Claude code will also learn from that. So if you have it separate, you're right, it won't be connected, but when you put it in the project, it learns from the project, and you can share it across for anybody else using it. You can also you can store things directly on your computer in your home folder. If you have things just for you that you don't want to share across. But yes, for like your docs, all of this docs information, I would put that in the docs repository itself.
Good.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Great presentation. Really, really helpful. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Yeah. It's ever since joining Claude Code, it's been a deep dive in all kinds of information.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving Claude. It's
Yay!
so much fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, it is. It's fun. I personally feel like it's helped me focus on the enjoyable parts of writing and my job, and just taking away the annoying things.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are you working on, or what product are you documenting?
Well, I was at a big corporate, but I just got laid off at the end of last year. And I think there's more to come in that area. There's lots of us hitting the streets at the moment. So I'm not necessarily job hunting at the moment. I am just learning AI and getting into it and coding and coding and coding. So I'm just trying to figure out what I can use it for and